for good concerts. And thank you for your incredible group.
Thank you.
Please tell me about your start. Where and when did you get the first drum set? Did you have some musician in family?
First of all, I started playing drums at the age of 4.
Oh,
4 years old. My mom, it all started with my mom. My mom was a background singer for Motown Records for a very, very short time. She didn't like it. She left. She came back to Baltimore, put a band together, and I used to sit there and watch the drummer play. I think I was like 3 years old when that happened. And every time the band would end rehearsal, I would pick up something and start tapping out rhythms, try to emulate the drummer that played. I was mesmerized because of the color of the drums, the way they sounded, the cymbals. They looked like shiny spaceships, gold spaceships. That's flying saucers. That's what I thought they were. And I was just fascinated. So at the age of 4, they bought me a drum kit. I started playing drums. From there, I was playing in clubs at the age of 6, playing like Sam and Dave type of music, Otis Redding, stuff from Stax, listening to a lot of Motown stuff, learned playing that stuff. I was with a band called the Fingertips when I was like 6 years old. And then from there, it was like listening to a lot of people that came through Baltimore. I'm a self-taught musician. I didn't go to school for it. But the teachers that I credit being teachers are the guys that I listened to on records. And those, at that time, since music was so different, and if you think about it, you had like Motown Records, you had Stax Recording, and those two labels, Motown had the Temptations, the Four Tops, the Supremes, the Marvelettes, David Ruffin. They had the Jacksons. They had the Four Tops, and a whole slew of Marvin Gaye. All these people. But there was only one band that played on all of it.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Who is a musician?
The Funk. They were called the Funk Brothers.
Funk Brothers.
Yeah. So and then in the South, they had Al Jackson, who played with Boogie T and the MGs,
Yes.
and they were the musicians that played on all the stuff out of Stax. So, but none of those guys sounded alike. But the reason why that is because in order to be a musician, it was blasphemous to try to sound like somebody else. So I came out of that era, which is like I didn't want to sound like somebody else. I wanted to sound like me.
Like you, yes.
And it's easy to do to be yourself. But now at this day and age, it's 2024, and the radio, I can't stand listening to the radio because there is no identity. Everybody sounds the same.
Yes. It's all uniform music.
It's all the same.
Yes.
And it's like if somebody is very successful with something new, then all of a sudden everybody copies it. Which is like the record companies back at that time, they were always looking for something new. Something new, something, like something fresh. Now it's like they got all this new stuff out there, but you'll never hear it because the record company won't take a chance on it.
Yes.
So
it's not commercial for this.
Learn the name. They call it formatting the radio.
Formatting?
Formatting, yes. It's like already ready-made playlists.
Well, I call it
Nothing new.
I call it brainwash.
Yeah.
It's brainwashing, So, but the people are ready to hear something new. Most of them are, but the record companies won't let that happen. And the reason why they don't let it happen is because if you don't sound like something that was very successful, that sold like 500,000 copies and more, they won't take a chance on it. Back then, it was like they took a chance on it just to see what was out there. And, if they make a little bit of money from it, they made a little bit of money from it. If it was a big hit, then it was a big hit. But at least they kept it moving. It kept revolving. Now it's like, it's like everybody pretty much sounds that. So.
And when you began professional music, how old are you?
Not hold them. How old am I now?
No, when you start, like professional, like professional music.
I mean, I was always making money. I mean, I
Working kid.
yeah, I mean, I was a kid, making money. So, but when I started really making money, where I was, taking care of myself, being out on my own, I was like 18, 16 years old, 17, 16, 17 years old. Right.
Yes. If if it's my question's too intimate, you cannot answer. You playing with Niacid band, you playing Stratus. Did you have any pressure when you playing this tune because Billy Cobhama playing this? You have your own idea what's that music как можно звучать?
The sound, expected sound. There was no expected sound.
Nah, there was no pressure at all. I mean, first of all, Billy Cobhama was a friend of mine. So.
Yes.
And I learned a hell of a lot by listening to him. I grew up listening to him with the Mahavishnu Orchestra. Mm-hmm. I've always wanted to be in the play like that, or play in that way, but my way of doing it.
Yes.
But if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be playing the way I play. And Tony Williams too. I used to listen to a lot of Tony Williams. I listened to a lot of Billy Cobhama. Musicians, great musicians, how they become great is because they listen to other people, and you get certain things from them. Whether it's like the way they phrase, the way they get around the drums, the way they express themselves through the drums. Mm-hmm. But once you get what that is, then you go like, okay, well, how? If I was in those shoes, what would I do with it? Mm-hmm. And that's how and why I play the way I play. But if it wasn't for those guys, I wouldn't be playing like that. I mean, Billy Cobhama was I think he was the first guy that played the way. Well, actually, Tony Williams. Tony Williams was the first one that played the way that brought fusion drumming to the forefront. Mm-hmm. Billy Cobhama followed, because the group called Lifetime, Tony Williams Lifetime. It had John McLaughlin in it, and it had Jack Bruce and Larry Young. That was the first fusion stuff. Uh-huh. John left Lifetime and formed Mahavishnu Orchestra. He grabbed Billy from that because Billy and John worked on Miles Davis' Bitches Brew records. So they teamed up. And then they just got a bass player, which was John's friend, Rick Laird. And then there was Jan Hammer, who was playing jazz keyboard for Sarah Vaughan. Mm-hmm. And then that happened, and that just took it way over the top. And if it wasn't for that, you wouldn't have Prague. Mm-hmm. You wouldn't have King Crimson if you didn't have Mahavishnu.
Did you listen to European drummers like Ringo, John Bonham? You playing the Whole Lot Low on one tune.
From Zeppelin.
From Led Zeppelin, you play Smoke on the Water, Young Pace, Deep Purple tunes. What is your opinion about European drummers?
Well, first, I mean, European drummers. Enough. European drummers. If it wasn't for the Black American drummers, they wouldn't be who they are. Uh-huh. It's known fact that somebody like John Bonham and Ginger Baker, yes.
Kate Moon,
and Ringo.
Ringo, yes.
Mitch Mitchell.
And Mitch Mitchell. All those guys, they listen to American drummers. Mm-hmm. Like John, let me see, Ginger Baker he was a jazz drummer when he was on Pringle. And so was Mitch Mitchell. Mm-hmm. But they used to listen to Tony Williams. And all the jazz guys that came out of America, and all the great jazz drummers were the black guys that came out of America. That's who everybody listened to. Yes. If you think I'm making this up, listen to, you remember that song, it's a Led Zeppelin record song called Rock and Roll.
Yes. Yeah.
Do you remember Little Richard, Keep Knocking?
Yes.
Keep Knocking.
It's quite the same.
It's the same intro.
Yeah.
Well, who did it first?
Ritual. Yeah.
Right.
It's the king.
And you know, like now, you know, Led Zeppelin's under a lot of lawsuits from a lot of the blues, American black blues people in America, and they're like, yeah, right, and then they're keeping it under wraps. But the whole history of like, what is the British invasion? Well, that was all on the back of black. That was all on the back of Little Richard.
Yes.
But the drummers, I really admire what Bonham have done. But I've heard it before he did it.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, yes. And did you have any secret formula for your groove? Your backbeat is very, like I said, constant and groovy. And I think that if you play only backbeat, your sound is very good. Is that what is
Technique?
Technique?
It's the way I hit the drum. First of all, I mean, I play 50% drum head, 50% rim. It gives it a loud snap sound. And when you hear the sound, it sounds like I'm doing this. And I'm just, the motion is this. Because of the way I hit the snare.
We have a great talks about the position of the snare, you know, before, after, to go, you know.
Oh, you mean the beat? Yeah, the backbeat.
Because
behind
the
the beat.
that carries the back.
It's like, you know.
Yours is, it's a mountain. It's so solid.
Well, I mean, that basically, you know, like, there's a group called the Delphonics.
Delphonics, yeah.
And if you listen to that drummer play, the snare drum was so behind the beat.
Yeah.
And the hi-hat and everything stayed here.
Yeah, yes.
But the backbeat is like, it's almost a flam to the hi-hat.
Like another musician, yes.
Yeah. And, you know, you learn how to do that, you know, by listening to people who've done that. And Steve Gadd made a fortune, you know, by placing playing behind the beat. And I studied that. I know what it is. So I'm able to use it, you know, because it's in my repertoire, and I know sometimes when engineers ask me, drummer, can you play a little bit behind? And I go, how far you want me to go behind? Because sometimes I can almost play the backbeat so far behind that it almost catches up to the thing. And then the engineer kind of freaks out and go, okay.
Too far.
That's a little too
late. One time Miles said, it's on the video somewhere, that white musicians, I don't know why, they play too far back. Something like that. They play behind. I don't know why, he said.
No, they at that time they attend the rush.
Yes.
They play ahead.
I don't know why he said that. It's on the video.
Yeah, I know why he said it. But I mean, but at that time when he said it,
it's important.
You know, music, you know, in the field between white and black, it was just the white guys would rush the beat.
Yeah.
And that's why you have classical musicians. Everything is
in the center,
you know, it's like right on the fucking right, you know. And then you got like you know, like jazz musicians play behind the beat a little bit.
Yeah.
But that's why he said it, because he understands the difference between a classical musician and a jazz musician. And normally at that time, all the white musicians were in they were in the classical music, and they started playing jazz, and then everything was like really on the beat. But jazz music is not it's not like straight on the beat. You know, it's like really behind. Like you listen to Elvin Jones. Elvin Jones' drumming is like, it's so loose.
Yeah. What do you think of Art Blakey?
I mean, it's like
wide sound.
That's the looseness.
Yes.
And it's what we call is the elastic feel.
Yeah.
Because if it's the difference when you go like, you got a pendulum like this, right? But if you look at that pendulum and you want to put it behind the beat, it's like.
Yes, going more.
And if you do that, it feels like that.
Yes.
That's the best way I can describe it. But that same pendulum is doing this, and it all depends how you look at that and you put it behind the beat. It's like,
yes, going for more.
Well, it's a little emphasis.
It's
a little emphasis on that, on the both ends of the spectrum of the beat. But how far you want that to go? And the same thing with Brazilian music. Brazil, or music that come out of that, man. That's the best way I can describe that is like if you ever watch an egg roll down the hill, it's more like
But regular, yes.
Yeah.
So why did your ma left Motown? You left
She didn't.
us with this word.
No, she didn't like it. She didn't
Was
like
too
very,
much
no,
mechanical.
she didn't like the politics of it.
Yeah, we heard very good was quite.
I'm not gonna say
No,
it.
yeah, of course. We don't want to put you in.
No, but I mean, it was different time
Yeah.
then, and there's a lot of politics that had to be played. A lot of people don't know, like Motown. They did a Motown tour through America. Imagine you had the Temptations,
Yes.
you had
Smokey.
Smokey Robinson, the Miracles, the Supremes, and they almost got killed going through the South of America.
It's unthinkable for us, but we know that.
Yeah. But that was the ignorance of color of skin.
And that were the greats.
Yeah, but the history could have been ended.
What sizes of stages do you like now? Smaller or bigger stages?
Big stages. You play.
Is there any
with big
preference?
Big stages with.
Well, it's I miss the big stage. I miss it. But then when I'm on the big stage, I miss the small stage. I mean, because I like. There's the difference is when you're on a big stage, you don't feel the audience.
Yes.
Because they're too far away, and it's a lot of them. When you're in front of like 30, 40, 60,000 people, and you can't see it. You can't see the end of it.
Yeah.
You don't feel that. But when you're in a room like this, you feel the audience.
Yes.
You feel it.
That's the reason why the drummers had small stage on a big stage.
Yes.
Big stage.
Say again?
When you play on big stage,
Drummer
you have
stage.
small stage
Drummer
only for
stand.
drummer.
Yeah, like Terry Bozzio.
It was not smaller.
Yeah, I love Terry Bozzio.
Yeah.
Okay. In Croatia, you have so many drummers that like you. Did you have some?
Everyone likes.
Suggest for not only drummer, musician. Did you have some?
They have a message.
Some message for this.
Some legacy for
Some
us.
legacy.
Legacy message.
The only thing I got to say, honestly, is just that in order to become a musician, you have to listen to all styles of music. Just keep your mind open, keep your ears open to everything, and try to learn. Try to learn everything. I mean, I like listening to drummers who somewhat can't play, and what I learned from them is don't do that.
Yeah.
When they start playing,
Yes.
don't do that. So, but I keep my ears open because sometimes, there's some beauty when a guy is struggling, learning how to play.
Yes.
And if you can hear that, you go, oh, wait a minute. If he did this would happen. But if you don't keep your mind open and keep your ears open, you would never heard it.
Yes.
Instead of like thinking about, well, I'm greater than him or I play better than him, I ain't gonna listen to him. No, you listen to everybody. I'm a big fan of drummers. I'm a big fan of musicians. You wouldn't believe some of the stuff I have at my house. I got Jimi Hendrix rehearsals, Led Zeppelin's rehearsals. What else I got? I got a Grand Funk rehearsals. I got a whole gang of. I got Steve Gadd when he was on. He was on the Mickey Mouse Club. I got Steve when he was in the playing in the Army band, and this is before anybody knew. I got tons of videos. I got tons of audio on everybody. So it's a lot of blackmail is going to come up later.
Money waiting in the future.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you for.
So maybe one more question. How do you memorize all this?
Great guy.
Notes and stuff.
Well, I mean, honestly,
It's quite precise and.
but honestly, it's just that I use that part of the brain more than people that don't. And And what I mean by that is when people start looking at charts and rely on charts, then they rely on their eyes all the time. Since I don't read music, I retains it here. But, you know, Buddy Rich, it's nothing special about it. I mean, Buddy Rich wasn't a reader. Lenny White is not a reader. Billy Sheehan, I don't know if you know, Billy's not a reader. Alan Holdsworth wasn't a reader. When I first met Jeff Porcaro, he wasn't a reader. And Joey DeFrancesco wasn't a reader. There's a lot of musicians that don't read, and it's by them not being able to read, most of the times they get inside the music a whole lot faster.
Yes.
But reading is very important.
Yes.
It's important if you don't have the memory to memorize stuff quickly.
Yes.
And music is, if you read music, it cuts down on the communication time. If somebody write a chart and you can read it, and you just read it. Done. It's done. You don't have to read it, you know. But sometimes the guy who reads the thing, he don't get inside the music fast. Or, you know, like when I saw Steve Gadd in the '70s recording something at a studio called A&R Studios. He did one take. I mean, he was high as hell. I don't know how he did it, but he walked in, he read the thing, did one take, and played the drum solos where they were supposed to be, but he played the solos the way he played them, but he was hitting the accents and everything.
Mm-hmm.
See now, you know, if he was just reading it without getting inside of it, those accents wouldn't have felt the way it felt. Better yet, I'll take a perfect example. If you play with a classical trained musician and you play a chart, and if you take that chart away, they can't play. They can't play because they weren't brought up to improvise. Where a jazz musician and a drummer that don't read or don't read a lot, they use their brain a lot more. Mm-hmm. So they don't have to rely on what's on the paper.
Yes.
But Steve Gadd, Vinnie Colaiuta are two special individuals where they can read fly shit and hit the paper, but and still give you their interpretation of what that is.
Yes.
You are now reading.
Huh?
Now you are reading. Music.
No.
And how did you learn some complex tunes with John McLaughlin? That's lots of measure, 7, 8.
There's a secret. It's not from this planet.
No. See, what happens is, how many times you had a good conversation with somebody, and you don't see that person for like 5 years, and the minute you see him, you remember exactly everything he said. Mm-hmm. Well, music is that way for me.
It's the same.
If it's good music, I just remember it.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I used to play with a group called Parliament Funkadelic. George Clinton and those guys.
Yes.
And I don't see them for like 7, 10, sometimes 12 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I go see them, and they ask me to sit in. And at the time they asked me to play, I don't remember the thing. But when they count off, everything comes back.
Mm-hmm.
And I hit. And sometimes I even scare myself because I remember the accents and everything. The hands just go. It's like the limb memory, muscle memory.
Yeah.
Everything comes back, and you go like, "Wow, I'm surprised I hit that at the last." It's just one of those things. But for me, it's like playing music. You know, with great musicians and playing great music. It's like having conversation with people.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I may not remember the faces of some of the people, but I remember as soon as I see them, I'll go, yeah, I remember the conversation we had.
Okay.
That's right now, but when I get older,
Thank you very much.
I'll let it go.
God save you from that. Yeah.
Yes. And
Oh! Yes. Fast again.
You all right?
Tomorrow you play in Budapest.
Yeah.
And you have a tour around Europe.
No, after Budapest, we go to Athens, Greece.
Greece, yes.
And then that's it. And then we go back to the States.
Yes.
And we're going to lose Jorge, the keyboard player.
Uh-huh.
And then we're picking up another piano player. And we got 2 or 3 gigs, and that's done. And then after that, I go back on tour with Mike Stern.
Uh-huh.
How you manage all these tours? Is it okay in calendar for you? Is it too much? Is it hard to get all that airports and travels?
Well, you know, first of all, I'm at the position where I pick and choose whatever I want to do. So I get called to do a lot of things, and I just pick and choose whatever that is. But sometimes I'm not looking at the calendar when I choose a date. After it's all said and done, like for instance, like I'm already booked up until October of next year, right? But as the time goes on, some of those empty dates that I have in between, I'll like block those things in sometimes. And then when I go back and look at it, I done painted myself into a freaking corner. So I have to learn how to look at the calendar first before I actually say yeah. But everything is like when I take the gig, agree to it, whatever, you know, listen to. If it's new, I have to hear it first to see if I really like it.
Yes,
And if I like it, then I'll do it. If I don't like it, I won't do it. And then I'll mark it on the calendar and make a backup of the calendar. So if anything happened in the computer, I'll have it and it's there. Because that's new stuff.
Lots of airports, yeah.
Huh?
Lots of airports.
Yeah. Airports are a drag. They're, you know, I you know, here lately, there's not a on-time flight going anywhere. And, you know, it's a shame. They take your money and they ask for a whole lot of money for these plane tickets. And yet, you know, they can't get you on time. You know? And the only thing they offer is apology. Meanwhile, it's like, if you're really, really sorry, give me half of my money back. They don't want to do that. So. And then you have security, you know, going through the TSA. It's really crazy. They treat you like terrorists, like you're a terrorist. You know? And meanwhile, your passport's got chips in them. So when they run the passport, they know everything.
Yes.
But they still treat you like, you know, like a criminal. So it is what it is.
Yes. Great experience.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Again,
I think that if you came to Croatia, that we see again. Maybe if you have some good times, maybe we go to our sea that you see. Croatia,
Seaside, yes.
Seaside, Croatia is very beautiful country.
Have you been to the seaside? Not
I don't
Croatian.
I don't think I've been to the seaside.
Coast.
But I remember I've been here.
In Rijeka, you play with Mike Stan in Rijeka in Liburnia first.
But I think I've been here with McLaughlin too. I think a long time ago.
Yes, with Santana, but in Zadar.
You played in Zadar with Santana.
In Zadar, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I you know, like all of that tour stuff, it's like a big blur to me because I done been just about everywhere. So, you know, once I'm back and I see it, and I go, oh yeah,
I was there.
I was there. I remember that, you know.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Goodbye.
Chambers.